Time and time again on this channel, I explore the vast frontier of weird and wacky musical projects left to be discovered in the depths of the internet, and time again, you and I are left stranded and truly puzzled at what we uncover. One concept I always find concretely interesting is when artists create songs, albums, or other forms of musical projects that defy all common norms and traditions of how long a set musical piece should be. Vaporwave's super legend Telepath, for example, is known to have albums that span for hours long, and tracks that can easily go for over a half an hour in length. Death's Dynamic Shroud's vigorous megabeast Derelict contains 84 action-packed, ominous tracks detailing a fictional world where a group of people make their way to the top of a massive tower, a narrative complemented by the compelling nature of the length of songs the album contains. My boy Mesh clocks his Welcome to the Warp Zone album in at 4 hours and 20 minutes, a 10-track video game mix where the shortest song on the album rests at a larger-than-life 14 minutes and 47 seconds. Even in the more mainstream world, we can find bands like Dream Theater, whose track 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence clocks in at over 40 minutes alone. A goddamn 40-minute track. But today, ladies and gents, I want to talk about an album that has recently come out that blows all of these out of the water. A 360-track long album by signal wave, climate wave artist Asutenki. Nothing short of a musical encyclopedia, Asutenki released this album, Sunflower Image, or that's at least what Google Translate told me what it's called, back in February of this year. 360 tracks of television surfing, commercial hopping, and sample chopping deliciousness. Fans of quirky little jingles will find nothing short of a nostalgia overload with this album. I mean, most of us never grew up with all of these Japanese sampled clips Asutenki used to construct this thing, but listening to this thing will make you feel like you actually did. I might be a Jersey boy, but you bet your ass this thing convinced me that I was watching a commercial for Mother 3 in 2006. Yeah, this thing is a trip. If you have an itch for all things interesting about weird internet music discoveries and breaking them down, consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video. It helps the channel grow immensely. So Asutenki is known to create signal wave, more specifically climate wave, a branch and an even more specific branch of vaporwave that focuses on barraging the listener's eardrum with a collage of chopped commercial and musical loops, primarily sampled from the 80s to the early 2000s. I've made an entire video breaking down this subgenre if you're interested. Going to flash a card for that right now on the top corner of the screen if you want to get a full explanation of what this mysterious little interesting music genre is all about. As of the creation of this video, I've listened to about 200 or 210 of the 360 songs on this album. And I want to not only give you my thoughts on the album, but my feelings entirely for musical extremities like we're presented with here. A lot of times I find myself lodged between two opposing feelings when discovering some of these bizarre musical pieces. A state where I can't come to terms if something is authentically groundbreaking by being odd, original, and powerful in its erratic nature and thought-provoking visualizations the music conjures up. Or on the other hand, if the whole thing is just a circumstance of surface-level cheap thrills. Nothing but pretentious fodder for our eardrums that shouldn't be taken too seriously. A booster pack of loud, offbeat sounds, edgy or mysterious artwork, and pretty much worked on by the original producer for 15 minutes, churned up to sound all jagged and freaky, and regurgitated into the depths of the internet for people to find, overanalyze, and create a legacy for the next here's the craziest album ever. And Sunflower Image can easily fall into that category, there's no doubt about it. Most people will turn this thing on, get through 10 of the tracks, and quite easily fall into a state of boredom after the excitement of, wow, this thing is 360 tracks long, has began to worn itself out. I've gone through about 65% of the entire album, I would say, maybe a little more, and it really is pretty much one collection of samples chopped up used after the other, and whether it be warbly piano loops or food commercials, Asutenki can be seen as nothing but an artist who has only further enhanced the VHS-like sounds the samples already contain, just to lazily bring us back to the past for a while. But people, if you know anything about Vaporwave, and if you know anything about your boy Pat Chennington, you know I gotta let things like Sunflower Image sizzle for a little bit. I can't take it out when it ain't even fully cooked yet. And that's why it is pieces like these 360 track long megascapes of audio journeys Vaporwave presents us with, that when looked under a different musical scope, can we begin to appreciate projects like this in a different way. I first listened to this album while I was at work. I'm a full-time graphic designer during the week, so I was working on some stuff for a client when deciding to give this thing a listen as I got down to business. The first 10 or 15 tracks in, I told myself, okay, this is just another edgy Vaporwave release that's long and choppy and weird, whatever. But after a while, it sort of broke this mental barrier within me, this subconscious state where I actually began to zone out, almost forget the music was even there. And if the album was short in length and abruptly stopped, I would have easily snapped out of this flowing work state I was in. Before I knew it, like 2 hours have passed and I was already in the hundreds section of the track list and realizing I had so much material left to soak in. And that is the beauty of these sort of projects. They almost provide us with like a power-up, or at least in my eyes, where, yeah, we're not really grooving to the beat or anything, but you can use these musical cognitive escapes as a way to put the horse blinds on, crush out some work, an essay, clean the house, pretty much anything. It's an amazing, amazing tool, and I think that's why I and a lot of others still listen to Vaporwave after all these days. It becomes more than the music, but a form of productive energy to only enhance my workflow and determination to crank something out. And Asutenki is one of those artists that really can provide you with that energy. I mean, besides this thing, this dude has really branded an entire discography with a universal aesthetic and musical flow to give you hours and hours and hours of a background helping hand to whatever you're doing. All of Asutenki's albums, Sunflower Image as well, contains artwork of old, low-quality Japanese weather channel graphics. Some of them I find truly beautiful. I just love those dulled-out colors that were once obviously powerful and vivid, held back now by the textures of VHS quality filters. There is definitely a mysterious aura to the projects of Asutenki, with the album artwork alone easily sucking you in to see what this dude is all about. I do plan on one day finishing all of this thing, and it doesn't even seem like a daunting task because the music, like I said earlier, helps me get things done. I don't have to take the time out of my attention and focus to really hear the music and give it the time of day, but it's actually quite the opposite. Asutenki works for me, a truly beautiful exchange between the artist and the listener that you don't really find too much these days in the world of music. Do you know of any other massively long songs or albums you think call for discussion and critiquing? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, much love, your boy, Pad Chennington.